1954, and I was 9 years old. And the beast came around, a varmint or whatever it was, and he slaughtered some dogs and different animals.
And it was known as the vampire beast because all the dogs that were killed identical. They had their nose eaten out and the blood drained.
And they were afraid that he might be after children and all, and so the mothers, my mother, would not let us get out in the yard and play.
We would always come to Bladenboro on Saturday and take in the movies and head home, and we'd walk home. There was a swampy area between town and my home. When we got to that swamp, we ran like the wind.
We had a curfew. We couldn't go out of the house because everybody thought a monster, a beast would get us.
Nighttime, everybody was indoors. Everybody.
I was in school at that time, and I was a cheerleader on the basketball team, and some of the people would not let their kids come from other towns to play basketball while that was going on.
In 1954, I was 15 years old, and I lived on what we call a mill village. There's 18 houses, little bungalows, and we lived right in the center of it.
Our parents worked in the mill, and the mill furnished the houses for the people to live in, but they were built way up off the dirt, and it was easy to walk up under them.
I don't know how many animals were killed already, but this was on Friday night.
And that night, we could hear the beast under our house hitting the rafters.
And we had a pen that we kept a goat.
And then about 3 o'clock, we heard a loud noise across right next door. The houses was real close together.
We got up Saturday morning.
And it was Mr. Eddie Hester's goat.
My dad's goat. His skull had been crushed, the nose eaten out, and the blood drained, just like the dogs that were killed other places.
He didn't have no nose. All this was bit off, and all the blood and stuff was drained out of him.
And everybody in the small town of Bladenboro went to town. The men went to the barber shop. That's where they gathered to tell their yarns and what have you. And Dad said, "I'm going to have some fun." Willie walked in, all he said was, "Well, it struck again." And well, the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, we had the New York Times, we had the Chicago Tribune, we had the Charlotte Observer, the Wilmington Star, the Raleigh News and Observer.
From that, it went to hysteria.
People walking around with guns. And
my favorite story is we had a man whose vision was very limited, and he was walking around Bladenboro with a shotgun. And that sort of scared me a little bit because he might shoot at anything.
And so for about 2 weeks, that was terror, and everybody was scared to death.
I was just scared.
That was the worst thing. I can still remember that fear. It was just like you were in a tight box, and it was just pressing.
Hunters, big game hunters were here in Bladenboro. They kind of overwhelmed the little town of Bladenboro.
And they came in here with their bows and arrows and their night lights and their hunting outfits and everything, and they would assemble on downtown, and then they would go out in the swampy area to hunt the beast.
It seemed like there was one big cat killed, a bobcat. Now, where that was the beast or not, we doubt it.
But that wasn't the beast. That bobcat wasn't the beast. They hung him in front of the old theater there in town, but that wasn't him. Not to me it wasn't. Not to me.
And it's just as quick as he came, he was gone.
And there's lots of rumors of how it got started, whether it was actually a beast or some animal of some type. There were stories about it was some of the senior citizens in Bladenboro.
People would see different tracks and all, and they didn't pan out.
The story was that they would take tin cans and run a string through it and make a sound like a wow.
I'm Paul Decker, a Keeper 2 at the Cypress Swamp exhibit at the North Carolina Zoological Park. An animal capable of damaging other animals' skulls and removing large pieces of flesh really fall into a wide category of animals.
I'm Mindy Stenner. I'm one of the co-founders of the Conservators Center, and this facility houses 17 species of carnivores and 2 lemurs. It's a little hard to say exactly which species of carnivores might have lived in the 1950s in a particular area, because not all of the research was completely credible at that time. But you certainly would have found bobcats and foxes.
My dad surmised it was a bobcat.
Some of the people thought it was a bobcat, but that didn't go to reason with my father.
I just cannot imagine a bobcat killing an adult coonhound-sized dog unless it was a freak thing, and it certainly wouldn't have happened over and over again. Something that would have to be able to kill a dog, a full-size dog, would probably be a cougar size or larger.
Unfortunately, many people keep a variety of the world's carnivores in captivity and frequently lose captivity of those animals, which results in them being loose.
They thought one time there was a carnival that came through town. It was some type of wild, exotic animal that got out.
In the 50s, the African leopard was one of the most common exotic pets in the dangerous animal category.
My father thought the beast or whatever it could climb trees. By the one footprint he found had claws like it was a type of animal that could climb trees.
The trappers from Asheville, North Carolina, thought it was a panther.
Typically, large cats do not facially attack other animals, especially ones that could be harmful to them. That behavior is most typically seen in canine predators.
A lot of really horrible animal killings can actually be attributed to packs of dogs running wild. Sometimes dogs that have been taken hunting and didn't come back, and they pack up in the wild on their own.
Other animals capable of these kinds of killings do occur in the environment. However, they're not likely suspects. The alligator, of course, does surprise all of its prey at the water's edge, which would explain the facial biting of these animals. However, alligators typically drag their prey off, so there wouldn't really be any carcasses left to find. Other animals like the bear and wolves typically are non-confrontational and don't eat other carnivores.
My father was a hunter, a bear hunter, and he had a pack of dogs, and anyway, his dogs hit a track, but it went deep in big swamp and they lost the track.
The tracking dog's failure to pick up a scent may be explained by the fact that it's a species they simply have had no exposure to.
So, for example, a raccoon-trained dog that comes in is not necessarily going to catch a cougar scent and run with it. It might, in fact, run the other way if it smells a cougar in the area.
I really don't know what the beast was.
Whatever it was bloodthirsty.
That's all they ever said was a big cat or a big dog. I never believed in either one.
But as far as I'm concerned, there was something.
We really don't know what it was or if it was anything, so that's about the story.
Bullying, I'd say if you have a clique and someone outside that clique is bullying you, you have those people to protect you. That's one of the benefits of a small town, that people will stick up for you if it's unjust in their eyes. But also being in a small town, everyone knows everything.
When it comes to bullying, we're not really the most outrageous school. Like, we don't go and push someone into a locker or nothing like that.
You do have drama. It spreads really fast. You could tell one person and then they'll tell another person, and then by tomorrow the whole school knows.
I really like the people. Even though I feel like sometimes the walls are closing in with the people, I feel like there's still a chance. Like, I see the people that don't try to learn more, and then I see the people that do, and it just gives me hope that someday all the people will be like that.
Cyberbullying is having something said about you on the internet, and it's up there, and you can't change what they said. Everybody's looking at it, and that's how, you know, somebody could think that about you even when it's not true.
Cyberbullying gives certain people anonymity, and it gives certain people a sort of eternal way to bully someone. In a way, is worse because it's always going to be there. There are a lot of consequences to bullying, especially psychologically. I feel like that can have a real impact on your development.
I don't know who it was exactly because I'm cool with everyone. Some type of way it got around to me that I was doing whole behaviors, if that makes any sense. That actually did affect my relationship. But he's not the type of person to judge off what someone else says. For someone else, that could definitely bring down their confidence a lot.
It wasn't my school, but it affected my school. This one girl, she had made a fake page, and she was posting things about other people, about people who went to my church, people who were at my school, and it went on for like a good 5 months. It was a long time. Things she knew, she would like stretch the truth about it, or like she'll create lies about people, which we knew weren't true, but like just to have those things said about you, it still hurts your feelings and it affects you.
In middle school, back then my ears used to be humongously notable. And I mean, they still kind of are, you know. They're bigger than ever size to say, and they used to call me Dumbo for it. Bullying is a big thing over here because people, first, they don't know themselves, they don't know what they want, they don't know what makes them happy.
I mean, putting someone else down might actually make you feel better.
Maybe people turned you into it. You didn't really want to be it, but if everyone else is doing it like that, it's like a group think, where if one person does it, it justifies you doing it.
They keep it going, or like they'll tell the next person will tell. It's just like a chain reaction.
I think females are more vulnerable to the situation.
Both genders are involved with bullying females, because like you could have a girl who's jealous or a guy who wanted that girl but the girl refused, and it just starts from there.
That spirit of masculinity still roams in this place. You know, they mistreat women. And some guys here don't know how to express themselves and just do it the worst way possible.
Me and my friends, we set off of Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat for like 2 weeks. I only made it a week, but it was really like good. Once you're not on your phone all the time, you like open up to more things to do. Like you hang out with your friends more, you talk to your family more. It was really good. I thought it was really good for us to do.
I learned to embrace myself, and the way I look, it really didn't matter to me anymore. You know, it's like I have a brain, I can use it, I can get a good job. It doesn't matter how I look, it doesn't matter what they call me, you know. I'm still Everson.
If you're different and you're not fitting in, that just makes you more susceptible to the bullying. I personally don't even know the standard of what normal is. Like, I want to know what makes you different from me. I want to know, why am I normal but you're not? Why are you normal but I'm not? I'm interested in that stuff.
I feel like for it to stop, we need to be open about what's going on. If you keep it all in, no one's going to know, and you're not going to benefit from that.
People are afraid to speak out about their issues, afraid they'll be belittled or they'll be picked on for what they share. You have to build that bond of trust with people.
I was like, well, how do we build that trust? Then I heard about SSS.
Still Standing Strong is what the initials stand for. And basically the group was started by a kid named Hunter. Hunter actually came and said, you know, help me write this, help me get this started, and we'll do it together. And I mean, it sounded like something that this school really needs.
It doesn't start with like your own idea. Like if she had the idea, it grows to me, and then we grow to them, and then they grow to them, and it just gets bigger.
It's like a project, but it's more than a project. You get to find solutions, and you know, not just a temporary one, but one that will last for quite a while.
His goal was to help them stop bullying each other. To me, the goal is to help kids who are going through depression and who can't deal with going home in the evening and who don't have friends.
If you don't have anybody, the only person who you can really go to is yourself.
But I mean, for you to go to yourself, you actually have to understand like who yourself is. Some people are still trying to find themselves. They don't know, hey, should I be like a hardcore person? Should I be sensitive? Should I open up to other people? Like you have to find yourself, and we're high school, so some of us are still trying to find ourselves. So
absolutely.
I do believe, like what LJ said, some people, you gotta get stronger and you gotta learn how to build up that thick skin, but then, like Rahima said, after so much, you can't do anything. Like, you physically can't go on. So I think people should be educated about what you should be able to push past and get stronger as a person, and what's not okay and what's abusive.
They talked about re-educating everybody, and I was like, well, how is that supposed to work? And then we sat in that circle, and like those ideas kept going, kept going.
This is a generational thing. The parents need to be re-educated themselves. Who's going to re-educate them? Their parents?
It is a task and a process.
I would say, like, get them to realize what they're doing and, like, try to put themselves in the victim's shoes. Like, how would you feel if someone was doing that to you? Like, reverse the roles.
I think if we had more adults to step in, then the kids would have a different example to go by.
A required amount of guidance counselors or a required amount of hours for workshops or something like that.
Teachers need to be a part of this too. If like teachers see someone upset about something, they need to approach it.
There are people in your lives, within your schools, within organizations like Still Standing Strong, like PGC, that are there intentionally to help you deal with these issues.
Peer group connections, and it's where juniors and seniors mentor the freshmen for one semester during the freshman year, just to make sure the transition from middle school to high school is a lot easier on them, to help them solve any problems.
When I was a freshman, I used to be not as confident. Like, I used to be really shy, and after PGC and going to my mentors every Thursday, they really taught me a lot.
It starts with people like us. There has to be someone who knows what it's like and is not afraid to take that. Be that change. You're a small little change, but you might save somebody from killing themselves. Like, you know that girl personally. She's still here, right? Mm-hmm. You are one small little change that saved her life.
This is how we make the change. We don't only express our ideas, but we put them to work.
I won't be here to see it, but hopefully when I come back, I do plan to visit. I'd like to see a lot of participation, more signs up in the hallway, more teachers talking about it. I'd like to hear that it's being successful and that people are joining, and maybe that it's spread to other schools and that other schools are considering making a club of their own like that one.
For everyone sees the world in a different manner. Who is to say which way is right and which way is wrong? I stand with visionaries, people who see the world not through their eyes, but through the eyes of others, people who love humanity. I am aware of the condition of the world, but I struggle to understand my very self. But to understand others, don't you have to understand yourself? Well, I no longer choose to understand myself. The want still lingers inside. But I have come to feel that one doesn't learn about oneself from oneself, but one learns about oneself through others.